Greetings, Revomon Masters. First off, a big congratulations to the Revomon team for finally getting the game listed on the App Lab in the Oculus Quest. As a result, now we're getting a whole lot of new players coming into the game. I have made plenty of beginner guides around this channel, so please check out some of my other videos if you haven't already. For now, we're going to touch on a topic that we have yet to cover, and that is the hidden ability of certain Revomon. The hidden ability has a 5% chance of manifesting in any Revomon that you spawn. In order to find out what the hidden abilities are, simply go on the Revodex on the desktop app. If you click on any Revomon, you will be able to see very plainly what the hidden ability is. Now, given the rarity of a hidden ability, it is usually quite useful in PvP, and therefore making the Revomon very valuable. If you want to know more about PvP viable Revomon, please have a look at the counter decks provided by Peels. This resource contains everything you will need about what kind of stats you should be looking for in certain Revomon, as well as abilities and natures, and even tells you what kind of EVs to give your Revomon. Having a PvP viable Revomon can make it very valuable, especially because PvP is one of the top ways to earn Revo dollars, which you can exchange for real money. In addition, if you want to sell any of your Revomon, having it be very ideal is the best way to do it. So, please look at the counter decks if you haven't already for all the information you might need on PvP viable Revomon. And now, I'm going to teach you how to find out if a Revomon has a hidden ability before you catch it. It can save an awful lot of time as you grind for one. Please note that not all Revomon have a hidden ability that can be so easily detected. In fact, there may be some methods of doing so that I have yet to think of. The best way to find out what an ability in Revomon does is to look it up on Pokemon. Unfortunately, PvP is the main thing for that we have completely copied from the original game. There will be a time that the Revomon team implement a new battle system that sets us apart from our predecessor, but for now, we're following the exact shell. So let's get into how to find the hidden ability of certain Revomon. Let's start out easy, with Rokilo. Rokilo evolves into Constructo, and has two very useful abilities. Now, neither of these are hidden abilities, they're actually quite common, but this is an example of how you can use strategies to determine what ability your Revomon has before you catch it. So let's use this as a warm-up. A Rokilo with weak armor will evolve into a Constructo with Sandstream, a very useful ability that boosts the special defense of any stone-type Revomon by 50%, so you can see why this would be quite handy. To test if a Rokilo has weak armor, we're going to hit it with a super effective move, like this Aqua Jet. As you can see, the Rokilo's defense suddenly falls and its speed rises in response to being hit. This means that it has weak armor, which is exactly what the ability does. We don't need this Rokilo, so we're going to move on, but if you want that, you catch it. Now, we're going to look for a Rokilo with Sturdy. The Sturdy ability allows a Rokilo to survive any hit that would otherwise KO it in one shot. So you can see why this would be quite useful. The way to determine this is to just keep trying to KO your Rokilos until one hangs on with Sturdy, like this one. So if you see exactly what you're looking for, give it a catch, and the good thing is it'll already be on 1 HP for you. Next, we're going to look for the Marvel Scale ability on Drakes. Marvel Scale on Drake turns into Multiscale when Drake evolves into Kragon. Multiscale allows the Kragon to take half the damage from the first hit of any amount of damage it receives in the battle. So, you can see why this would be quite useful. A Kragon could hang on for a move that would otherwise KO it, and is a very versatile ability. In order to determine if a Drake has Marvel Scale, it is important to determine if it doesn't have Shed Skin. Shed Skin is an ability that allows a Drake to free itself from any status move, and it only has two abilities, Shed Skin or the hidden ability. So, this is the best way to determine if a Drake has Marvel Scale. All you need to do is just give it a status move, and if it doesn't release itself with Shed Skin, as seen in the battle log, it probably has Marvel Scale. Now, Shed Skin only has a 30% chance of activating every single turn, so make sure you give it a few turns before you determine that it does indeed have Marvel Scale, and it's worth your time to catch. I'm just kidding, even though I'm running from Revomon that I don't like in this video, always catch every single Revomon that you see. Now, this drag has yet to wake itself up. We're going to try again on another drag, and then we are going to check what we got. Now over here, this drag we have put to sleep, and sure enough, Shed Skin, as if on cue, cures its sleep problem. I recommend catching any rare anyway, as you never know how useful they could be later when Revomon Novus comes out. Back at the house, we're going to look at the drakes we just caught. I caught one more with Shedskin after, which I can confirm here. Shedskin, and Marvel Scale, boom. I told you. Marvel Scale, as if on cue, and it's got not bad stats as well. Anybody want to buy it? Now, I actually caught a number of drakes before I finally found that Marvel Scale, but of course we're just cutting this video down. Now let's have a look at Woolpan. Woolpan is incredibly simple to determine if it has the hidden ability or not. What you're looking for is Dark Aura, something that boosts the effect of Twilight moves by 30%, which is quite hefty. And the beautiful part about this ability is it shows up the moment you engage with a Woolpan or Opalon. Now for the purposes of this video, it's going to take me a very long time to find 20 Woolpans roughly before I find a Dark Aura. We're going to cut to a previous version of myself who found one on stream.
Oh! Hello, Mr. Dark Aura.
As you can see, the moment you engage with the Woolpan, it says right there, Woolpan is radiating a Dark Aura. You can't miss it. So it's very easy to determine if this Woolpan is very worthy of catching. Of course, all Woolpans are worthy of catching, but you really want the Dark Auras. Let's try another tough one with Mummel. With Mummel, you are looking for the ability No Guard, which means that you cannot miss and your opponent cannot miss. So, the best way to determine? Try to miss. So we're going to use Hypnosis here, which has 65% accuracy. It lands, but that's no guarantee. Supersonic has 55%, and yet it's still hitting. This, of course, can be attributed to RNGs, so try and test it a little bit more before you determine it's time to catch. In this case, we're going to go for Grass Whistle, and as you can see, it did indeed miss, which means this Mummel cannot possibly have No Guard, which means I don't want it. Of course, I recommend you catch it still. Now, with this Mummel, we're going to try again. We've got Hypnosis on the hit, so that's a good sign. Supersonic is also a hit. And this is very strange already, but this Mummel woke up, so I get to test it again, and sure enough, it misses. So, bye-bye Mummel. Now, I've been grinding through Mummels for quite a while, trying to find one with No Guard, and I'm not having much luck, so I did call in Moongate to help me. Now, immediately, this Mummel does not have No Guard, Hypnosis missed, so we're going to try on this next one. And here we go, Hypnosis does indeed land, the Mummel falls asleep, so we're going to try for stage 2, Supersonic, and the Mummel does indeed get confused. So we're going to switch over and see if we can trigger it one more time, and if we still don't see a miss, I can safely go for the catch. Switching over to the next cycle, Grass Whistle has a 55% accuracy rate, so it should miss, but it doesn't. So I can safely assume that this Mummel may or may not have No Guard, but the chances are pretty good. So we're going to go for the catch. Oh, one orb. That was pretty lucky. Usually it takes more when the Mummel has that much health. Maybe the confusion on top of the sleep works. I may have to test that. Now, let's go have a look at our bounty. Now, the reason I am running from rares is because I have a rather hefty collection of them. And sure enough, this most recent Mummel we caught has No Guard. It's also got a naughty nature, which is not ideal, but it is perfectly fine. Along with 28 attack, this makes a pretty decent Mummel with No Guard. Next, we're going to look for an Odonymph. In order to determine if Odonymph has a hidden ability Speed Boost, all you need to do is stall for one turn. And if you... well, that was quick. First try. But yes, sure enough, because you see right here in the chat log, Odonymph's speed rose, it means that this Odonymph does indeed have Speed Boost, so that's something you're going to want to catch. Moving on, we're now going to take a look at an Odonymph that doesn't have Speed Boost. So let's stall for one turn, Odonymph uses a move, and nothing happens. So it's safe to run away from this encounter. Now let's take a look at the Prankster category. Fortunately, this covers 3 particular Revomon, all of which you would prefer to have this ability. The Prankster ability allows this Revomon to go first anytime that it uses a non-attacking move. So if the Revomon goes first, it probably has Prankster, otherwise it does not, just like this bookworm. There is a second way to tell if a Revomon has Prankster, and that is by pitting it against a Twilight-type Revomon. Prankster does not work against Twilight types, so this is a very easy way to tell if a Revomon has Prankster. So let's engage with this synchronized Twilevo and see what happens. This casket uses Imprison, which is technically an attack, so that doesn't count. We're going to keep trying and see what happens. And sure enough, this casket uses Heal Block, which means it indeed has Prankster as according to the battle log. So, we're going to switch to our Skydire, false swipe it down, and then we're going to give this bad boy a catch. And sure enough, if we have a look at this casket we just caught, it indeed has Prankster. Pretty good stats too, if I may say so. What a lucky find. Now I'm actually supposed to be streaming tonight as I upload this video, but I had a really long day at work and I could really use a rest. So unfortunately I'm going to take the night off, but I hope this video stands nicely in my stead. We're going to have a look back at the time that I found Hollydar, because Hollydar is no longer available to catch, and we're going to look at Prankster once more time. Oh, that is it. It's a Hollydar! Look at all these dirty boys trying to steal my Hollydar. Look at it, dirty. He's dirty. Yeah, it's got Prankster! It's got Prankster! Now, stage 3, timid and good stats. It's only so much I ask for, Hollydar. Bink. Alright, what we do. Levitate done. Garbage stats. Now, in order to make this video very clear, I worked very hard to spawn a legendary Revomon. Please leave me a like for that effort. So, here is a Polyvern I recently hit. Now, you can see that the battle log says absolutely nothing, which, in the case of a legendary, is a good thing. You see, for Polyvern, Scudire, and Rival, all of these 3 Revomon have the ability Pressure. This is the common standard ability for these 3 Revomon, and is a sign that you should be a little bit disappointed with your find, because Pressure is a basically useless ability. To demonstrate what this looks like, I'm going to use a rival that I've already caught and just engage into a battle, as the same thing will happen. As you can see here, Rival is exerting its pressure is the first thing you will see in the battle log, and the same applies to when you encounter a wild legendary. This Polyvern was not exerting its pressure, which means I can safely go, well, not safely, you're going to catch every legendary anyway, but it means that I can enjoy what I'm looking for. So, let's give it a little catch. So on a Polyvern, if it doesn't have pressure, it should have Levitate, so let's confirm. Let's go to our Polyvern newly caught, and it's sure enough, it has Levitate. It also has terrible stats, so, you know, we're just gonna forget that happened. And to finish off showing which legendaries have the pressure ability, here is Scudire, and as you can see, it is also exerting its pressure. And did Pickle just spawn a legendary? Well, congratulations to you, but I could have really used that rival to demonstrate my point. Nonetheless, you see what pressure looks like. I think I've done my part. Now, because it's going to take a bonkers long time to find a Dominevo with Magic Bounce as well as a Frost Toast with Refrigerate, I'm going to use my partner account, Fister Roboto, to show you what they look like. For the purpose of this demonstration, please assume that this PvP battle is as if you were encountering a wild Revomon. So, we're going to start by using our Frost Toast to try and encore this Dominevo as we are testing it to see if it has Magic Bounce. Now, by the way, we know it does, but let's show you what it looks like. So, I set Dominevo to use Confusion, and there it is. Encore, Dominevo bounced the Encore back, and Frost Toast receives an Encore. So, if you are using a move on Dominevo that isn't an attack, any kind of status move, if the Dominevo bounces it back to you, as long as you are targeting the Dominevo, then that means it does indeed have Magic. Now remember, your move must target the Dominevo. Moves like Recover and Refresh and anything that doesn't have a specific target will not work. Now, let's shake this Encore off as I have my partner account switch into Disciple. Disciple is a Forest type, which means that it takes super effective damage from Ice type moves. Now the special thing about Refrigerate is it is a special ability that turns neutral type attacks into Ice type attacks. So when we finally have this Encore wear off, we're going to show you what that looks like by demonstrating with Tackle. Now I'm going to explain to you that in the wild, if you encounter a Frost Toast, you need to make sure that it uses a neutral type move on you. If it does so, and you can see its effectiveness by having something that an Ice type move would interact with, you can see how it works. So to demonstrate, I've used Powdered Snow first, and it says it's super effective on Disciple. That's how it should look. So, using Tackle, if it also says super effective, it means that your Frost Toast has Refrigerate. So if you see this in the wild, catch it immediately. Frostos has 3 abilities, the first being Snow Warning, which activates the moment you encounter it. This makes it snow, and I don't like it, so we're running away immediately. Now, when encountering a Frostos, if it doesn't have Snow Warning, you need to find a way to determine if it has its other ability, which is Flame Body. Now, if the Frostos happens to use a move like Tackle or Rage or any other neutral type move, that'll be your indicator immediately, as Skardyre is an Ice type. So if you see Tackle or Rage and it says not very effective, you know for a fact it has Refrigerate. However, as you saw from this last attack, the Skardyre burned itself off the Frostos, which means it has a Flame Body. So we're gonna run away. Last but not least, we're gonna check out Soliel, which evolves into Triple Hydra, one of the most annoying tanks in all of Revomon. To determine if a Soliel has the hidden ability Damp, you need to try a Revomon that has Explosion. I have equipped here 5 Rokilos that all know Explosion, and just sending them to their fiery deaths in order to figure out which Soliel is worthy. The Damp ability makes it so that a Revomon is unable to use the Explosion move. So, as we spawn some Soliels, we're going to see if this final one has its hidden ability. Going up here with the Rokilo, and we're sending the Explosion. The Explosion does indeed work, so this Soliel does not have the hidden ability. We're going to try one more time. What's annoying about this method is that you have to go back to heal every 5 times, but hey. Now, as you can see here, Rokilo used Explosion. Rokilo cannot use Explosion because of Soliel's Damp. I've never actually seen this before. I've never looked for a Damp Soliel. I did so for the purpose of this video. So it's really interesting that it tells you outright that it has Damp. So that's a good enough indicator for me. It's time to catch. Now it's time to confirm that a Soliel does indeed have Damp, and sure enough, there it is. Damp, that's my nature I want, and there's some pretty decent stats. Not the best, but, you know, considering how hard it is to find a hidden ability, I'll take it. And with that, this concludes this tutorial on how to find certain Revomon with the hidden ability. If you can think of any more, please let me know in the chat down below. Thank you for watching, and Gongzi Fa Chai.